Hello students, this is Taranum Jahan and I hope you people are doing well. So here again I am with you all people in order to continue with a new chapter from your economics. And this is the chapter 4 of your economics and this is the last chapter of your economics. So let's begin with your last chapter of economics. So this is a chapter 4 for the class 9th NCERT, Food Security in India. Now, what is food security? And why do we need food security? Who are the people who are food insecure? Each and everything we are going to discuss under this chapter. So, let's begin the food security in India, the chapter 4, economics for the class 9. So, now what is food security? Food security is defined by the United Nations Committee on the World Food Security. They defined it as that all the people at all the time have the physical, social and economical access to the sufficient, safe and nutritious food that can meet their food preference and the dietary needs to have an active and healthy life. So now here over a coming decade we can see that the changing climate and growing global population, rising of the food prices and the environmental stresses will have a significant yet uncertain impact on this food security. So we should adapt certain policies, certain strategies in order to save the food for this coming uncertainty. So, how the government is planning its policies and strategies in order to secure the food for such uncertainty. So, we'll study under this chapter what are the various technique or policies that have been adopted by the government to secure the food for certain uncertainty or you can say the probability of the climatical change, any disaster. It can happen because it's a natural one. Natural disaster can come at any time without informing you all people. So you should be prepared with the security of the food, that even if such a calamities is going to happen in your country, you should be able to provide the food to the people. So, in order to provide the food in certain uncertainty, what policies and strategies have been adopted by the government? How they are securing the food? What are the various ways in which they are securing the food? We are going to study under this chapter. Now, let's see the food security in India. The food security in India has the three following dimensions, according to which the complete food security of the India depends. That is availability, accessibility and affordability. Now what all these headings talks about, what all this dimension talks about, we'll discuss in detail in the next slide. Now let's see all the three dimensions of food security in India. The first is availability. Availability of food means that the food production within the country, food imports and the various years stock stored in the government granaries. That means that the availability of the food in the government granaries. Accessibility means the food is within the reach of every person. Affordability implies that an individual has enough money to buy sufficient, safe and nutritious food to meet one's dietary need. Food security is ensured in the country only if enough food is available for all the persons. All the persons have the capacity to buy food of the acceptable quality, and there should be no barrier on access to the food. If all these three things are available to the people, then we can say that yes, the food security is there for the people. Now, why do we need a food security? Why food security, and how this kind of a food security how the food security is affected during the calamity? Now, if you see, you can understand by the current example, like in a coronavirus, like you people are having a lockdown, and many of the state there is no give and take of the products. The food products have not been coming to the states from one state to another state, which have been producing, like rice have been produced in Punjab, but the Punjab people are not able to send the rice to the other states because of the lockdown. They cannot do this business. So here there is a shortage of food. and the prices of the food is going high, because of which even the poor section is suffering, and even the person those who are living above the poverty line, even these people are suffering. So here there is a food insecure because of this natural calamity or the natural disaster that has been taken place in the complete world, because of which all the people, even the rich, even the people those who are above the poverty line, even the people those who are below the poverty line, today they are in the same condition. They are food insecure. They have to buy the food for the high prices, they, though they cannot afford it, because from last 3 months these people are sitting at home, so from where they are going to get the money? So they are food insecure now, whether they can have a nutritious food or not, whether they can have a proper diet or not. So here there is an insecurity of the food. But for such kind of a calamity, a government should have certain type of policies. Certain policies has to be adopted by the government, so that they can store the food in the granaries. So here this is the reason why we need a food security. So here how the food security affected during the calamity, as I have explained you that during the natural calamities such as drought, you take an example, like the production of the food grain got decreased, creating a shortage of food in the affected areas. Then the prices of this get increased due to the shortage of food, and people cannot afford to buy the food. And if such a calamity happens in a widespread area, then they will definitely reach to the famine, and these people will die of the starvation. So instead of reaching to that condition, it's better to secure the food. So let's discuss one case which we have suffered during 1943, the same calamity. Because of the natural calamity, we have suffered with the famine. So how the Bengal has suffered with the famine? In 1943, there were completely, crops were completely destroyed, and 30 lakh people were killed under that natural calamity. And the people, those who were alive, were forced, they were due to the starvation. The famine is characterized by the widespread of death due to starvation there. The epidemics caused by the forced to use the contaminated water or decaying food, so whatever was available to them, whether the food is decayed, whether the water is good or not for the drinking, whatever they were getting, they started eating that, because of which their complete immunity power of the body was completely lost, and the resistance, because of which they became very weak, and after that they started suffering with the starvation. So this was a case which was suffered by the Bengal, and the Bengal was suffering with the famine. So this we have suffered only in 1943. After that we have never suffered such a case. But we should be prepared for such cases again in the near future, because natural calamity can happen at any now and then in any of the state. So we have to secure the food. If we say that now the situation has been quite normal, so why still we need the food security? But there are certain places where the people, those who are living the completely, the tribal people, those who are staying over there, if there is any kind of a natural calamity over there, then from where they are going to have the food? For such tribal people, for such caste people, we have to keep certain granaries. It is not only those, as I said, that the people those who are above the poverty and the below poverty line, there are certain the calamity where both the kind of people, they do suffer the food insecure. So the government should take steps in order to secure the food in the greenery, so that under such condition they can open the greeneries and they can supply the food to the people, so that no one can die of the starvation. Now, who are food insecure? In India, a large section of people suffer from a food and nutritious insecurity. Usually these people are the people who are having a very little or no land, the artisans, and the people those who are working as self-employed workers, even the beggars. These are the people those who are worst affected, the beggars. And in the urban area, there are many people those who are working as a casual laborers, and they are appointed whenever there is a season, and if there is no season, these laborers are not called out for a work, and these people, they suffer with the seasonal unemployment. Even these people are being suffered as an food insecure. And apart from this, there are the people of SC, STs and OBC communities who have either poor land base or a very low land productivity. Even these people are the food insecure. These are the people who are mostly affected by the natural disasters, who migrate to the other areas in search of work, are among the most food insecure people. There are many people, those who migrate from here to there in order, in search of the work, in search of food, in search of the employment. These people, they migrate from here and there. Even the migrators, these people, they really affect from the food insecurity. So these are the people who suffer from the food insecurity in India. Hunger is another aspect of food insecurity. Now, how hunger is another aspect of food insecurity? Here, hunger is classified into two types, that is chronic hunger and seasonal hunger. Chronic hunger is where the person who is not at all having a money to purchase food. Here, the person is suffering from a chronic hunger because he is not able to buy the food because of this scarcity of money, he is not having a money. Whereas the seasonal hunger is where the person is having a work, but due to certain period, that is especially in the agricultural field, for the 3 months the person is not having any work. So if that person is not having any work for those 3 months, so there are no money, no work. So from where that person is going to buy the food? So again, the person who is have only for a seasonal purpose, if the person is not having a money, that person is called as a seasonal hunger. That person is suffering from a hunger only for a seasonal base for 3 months. So here the hunger is divided into chronic hunger and seasonal hunger. Chronic hunger, where the person is not having a money, not at all having a money to buy a food, it is completely poor person. Whereas in a seasonal hunger, he is not poor, but only for a seasonal purpose. He is not having a money to buy a food. There, during that period, he is suffering from an insecurity of the food. So that person is called as an suffering with a seasonal hunger. Apart from this, there are certain states who really we have to look after those states in order to have a food security over there, because there are the people living over there have a food insecurity. Now what are the states there? The Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, part of Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. These are the people those who are residing over here, they face a lot of food insecurity in that country. So for these people, the government, they have to adopt certain policies and the strategies in order to secure the food, so that during the period of a calamity or any other reason, the government should able to provide them food. No one should die of starvation. So this should be maintained by the government so that no one should die of starvation. So in your book, two stories have been given, the story of Ramu and the story of Ahmed. I'm just giving you the outline of the story. You go through the complete story and you will understand it. By even getting the outline, you will understand what exactly I wanted to say. So here first let us see the story of Ramu. Now this Ramu, he resembles over here. He resides in a rural area, and he is a food insecure person. He is a landless labor. Now why we are saying all these things? Why he is a food insecure person? The first is rural area. He is residing in the rural area and he is a landless labor. He is working in the lands of the other person. So now let's see what exactly the story of Ramu is. Ramu Ramu is staying with his family. He is having a number of children. Among them, one boy child is working along with him, and they are working for the whole year in the farmland, but they are being paid very less, around 1000 rupees. Though this Ramu, he is also having many other kids, he has to look after those kids even. So this whatever the money he is earning is not sufficient for the family to be uh, feed them. The that money is not sufficient. Even the Ramu's wife works as a casual labor in the field, and in case of her wife, if you see that she is not being paid in the money, she is being paid in the, like she has been given half liter of the milk and some grains from that farmland where she is working as a casual labor. Because of the disguised unemployment, that is disguised unemployment, though they are working in the farmland, as I said that they are working in the farmland, they are cultivating something there, they are working as a casual labor. See, for few months there is no work. Like in a rainy season, you don't do any harvesting there. You have to wait till the rainy season moves on. So those rainy season is to the period of 3 months. For the this 3 months, they are not having any work, so they are not being paid. When they are not being paid, they are facing the food insecurity. That means that they are suffering with the seasonal hunger, isn't it? Here they are suffering with the seasonal hunger, because of which they are suffering with this food scarcity, and many times they have to sleep without having any food. because now they are not having a money from where they are going to buy the food. So here this is a case of Ramu. The next case is the story of Ahmad. Ahmad is a rickshaw puller in Bangalore. He has shifted from a Jumri Talaya. So while shifting, he has taken along with him his three brothers, two sisters, and old parents. Now he is having a huge family, and he's staying in a juggi, one small like jhopdi type. He's staying in a juggi, and a huge family is there. But he's benefited in a Bangalore. Like we are talking, the Ahmad is in urban area. See, he's a rickshaw puller. He is staying in an urban area, and moreover, he is benefited because he is having a yellow card, yellow ration card. So with that, if the Ahmad is earning certain amount of money, if he is going to the ration shop and by showing that yellow card, he can buy the grains and the other essential, that is kerosene, sugar, wheat and rice at a very low price, because this person is having a yellow card. So he is benefited, though he is earning very less, huge family, but he is benefited because he is having that yellow card. So according to the income, even the cards have been given. Like for the people, those who are living below poverty line, some different card. The people, those who are living above poverty line, some different color of the card has been given. But PDS will supply the food grains to the all the people. But the card, just with the card color, they will get to know that the person is below poverty line or above poverty line. According to that, the rates have been fixed of the grains. So as it is like for the people, those who are living below poverty line, the food grains are at the rate of 2 and 3, whereas the people, those who are living above the poverty line, the food grains will be sold for the 25 to 35 rupees. So in this way, the rates have been fixed by the PDS for the card system, according to the income system. You can say that the people, those who are earning according to the income, the card colors have been given to them. So here this Ahmad is having a yellow card, and because of which he is benefited, and he is buying all the essentials, that is the grains from this ration shop at the very low price, and is able to feed his family, and he is living happily. Whereas in the Ramu case, many times they have to sleep without food because this person is suffering with a seasonal hunger, plus he is residing in the rural area. There is no PDS, there is no ration shop over here. They don't know anything regarding these PDS and ration shop, and he is a landless labor. So compare the situation, and you will get to know that how after the introduction of this PDS, the people have been benefited, how the people have come out of this food insecurity. So with these stories you will understand. In order to understand it clearly, read the story. I have just given an outline of the story. Now, after that 1943 incident that has been taken place in Bengal, after that we have taken certain steps, certain policies in order to secure the food. So, since then, the Green Revolution, the country has avoided the famine even during the adverse weather condition. India has become self sufficient in the food grains during the last 30 years because of the variety of the crops that have been grown all over the country. The availability of food grains has been ensured with a carefully designed food security system by the government. The system has a two components, that is the buffer stock and the public distribution system. Now see the ration card which have been provided by the government to the people. They have categorized the people into three groups, and according to that they have given the cards, and each card is having a different color so that they can easily recognize that they are from the Anantodaya card or they are from the BPL or APL. BPL is nothing but the below poverty line, APL is above poverty line. So each category has given the different color, and according to the color they recognize a person, and according to that the rate has been fixed in order to provide them grains. Now what is subsidy? It is a payment that the government makes to the producer, that is to the farmer, to supplement the market price, so that whatever the price the farmer is giving to the FCI, they should not feel that they are at the losses. If we have sold it to the market, we must have gained much profit. So they have to adjust the price in such a way that their market, whatever the price have been paid to the producer, that is to the farmer, by the FCI, it should be equivalent to the market price. So that the subsidy, this helps in keeping the consumer price low, because these people, they will definitely sell to the FCI, otherwise they will directly go and sell it to the market instead of selling them to the FCI and uh, getting the low prices. So this FCI, they set the prices in such a way that they give the subsidy to the producers or the farmers. Uh, it is an extra money or amount of a money that has been paid by the government to the producer or the farmer, so that they can maintain the market price, plus the whatever the commodity that has been supplied by this farmer, even that should maintain the price, that the prices should not go high for the domestic producers. Now let's see what is buffer stock. What exactly the government do with the buffer stock? So buffer stock is a stock of food grains, namely wheat and rice, is procured by the government, though the Food Corporation of India. Now who is securing this? The Food Corporation of India. The stock of wheat and rice are purchased by the Food Corporation of India, which is a government corporation, from the farmers, where there is a surplus production. Those whoever the farmer, those who have had the surplus of any of the wheat or rice, they will purchase from those farmers, and the farmers are paid a pre-announced price. Pre-announced price is whatever the price the government is going to announce in the near future, the same price will be announced by the farmers in the pre-announced price. That is called as the minimum support price, which is in short called as MSP. So every year the MSP is declared by the government before sowing the season, because before sowing only they announce the prices, that now the wheat prices will be so and we are going to purchase from you for so and so price only. So these farmers, they knew that the government, whatever the surplus we are going to produce, the government is going to buy from us on so and so price. So here, the farmers, those who are raising the production of these crops, all these things are been bought by these FCIs and they store in their granaries. Now this buffer stock is created to distribute the food grains in the deficit areas. Now what this food corporation do? Whatever has been stored in this buffer stock, they will again distribute them in the areas where there is a very poor section of the societies are living. So here on what prices they are going to give them? On a very low price, and this price is again name it as the issue price. So they are buying from the farmers with the name of minimum support price, and they are selling to the poor people with the prices of issue price, which is lower than the MSP. Now what is public distribution system? Now this Food Corporation of India distribute the food that is procured from the farmer through the government regulated ration shops. This is called as public distribution system, which is also called as PDS. This ration shop, also known as the fair price shop, they keep the stock of food grain, sugar, kerosene and cooking. Rationing in India was introduced during the 1940s against the backdrop of Bengal famine. So in the mid 1970s, three important food intervention programs were introduced. Now what was that? The first is the public distribution system for the food grains, Integrated Child Development Service, which is called as ICDS, and a Food for Work, FFW. At present, there are several poverty alleviation programs, mostly in rural areas, which has an explicit food component also. Employment programs greatly contributed to the food security in increasing the income of the poor. So this PDS are playing very important role in securing the food. Rationing. Rationing in India, it was introduced in 1940s against the backdrop of this Bengal famine, when we were suffering the Bengal famine. Later it was again revived in the wake of the acute food shortage during 1960s, when we were having a very good green revolution. During that period it was revived that yes, we should have a this ration shops where the food can be stored. During the green revolution period, we were producing more and more. So here this rationing shop is a system in which the government, through the public distribution system, distributes to the regions where the food is more insecure, and it is stored in the ration shops or a fair shops. so that the poor people can buy this food grains, and the food grains which are being stored over here is like kerosene and sugar at a very low price then compared to the market price. But here the difference is it restricts how much people are allowed to buy or consume at a particular time. Within a particular period only it will be open, and within that particular period only it will be closed, and only so and so these many people will come and buy. So it was restricted that how much people are allowed to buy or consume. So this is the difference between the PDS and the rationing, that here it has been restricted that how much people are allowed to buy or consume at a particular time within a particular period. Now let's see the changes that has occurred in the public distribution system. Till 1992, there was no discrimination between the rich and the poor. PDS was universal. In 1992, government distributed the food in 1700 blocks of the country at the low rate, which were backward. In 1997, PDS also distributed to the people who get less income. Then in 2000, one scheme came, Anantodaya Anna Yojana, who were poorest of the poor to help them. Then in 2000 again, for the poor senior citizen, Annapurna scheme was introduced. Anant Udaya Anna Yojana. Now let's see all the schemes in detail. So Anant Udaya Anna Yojana, this was started for the poorest of poor. And this was started in 2000 in December. Under this scheme, 1 crore of poorest among the below poverty line families were covered. They were targeted that the people, those who are living below the poverty line, for them the food should be supplied. It should be made available even to those people, those who are living below poverty line. So this was also called as TPDS, which is called as Targeted Public Distribution System. The poor families were identified by the respective state rural development department, those who are living below the poverty line. And according to the survey, they said that at least 25 kgs of this wheat and the rice should be made available to them. They are highly in need of them. So this government, they came and they started distributing them the rice and wheat on the rate of 2 per kg, that is the wheat, and 3 per kg for the rice. So this was lowest price which was paid by these people in order to purchase the food grains. Then there was Annapurna scheme, which was started for the Indian citizenship, and this was again launched in the same year, that is 2000, and it provides 10 kgs of the food grains to the people, those who are not getting any pension and those who are the senior citizenship. So here many contributions have been made by this PDS in order to provide the food security to all the people, those who are backward, those who are below the poverty line, so that at least they should have a 2-time meal a day. The government has made a target that at least each and every person, those who are residing in India, should have a 2-time meal per day. So here the following are some remarkable achievement of the PDS. Let's see the one by one. The PDS has helped the government to stabilize the food grain prices so that it is available to the consumer at the affordable rates. It also helped in avoiding the widespread hunger and famine by supplying the food for the surplus region to the deficit one. So they are purchasing from the farmers, those who have purchased from the farmers, those who have grown the surplus one in a MSP prices, and then they are supplying to the deficit areas. So in this way, this PDS has played a very remarkable role. It also helped in increasing the food grain production, besides providing income security to the farmers in some areas. Like they give the rate of MSP, that if you people are producing the surplus one, we'll give you the so and so rate and will purchase your food grain. So in that way, they started providing the income security to the farmers even. So in this way, this is a remarkable achievement that the PDS has given to the country. Now, apart from the remarkable play that the PDS has played in order to remove the food insecurity among the people, there are certain criticism even regarding the PDS. Now, let's see what kind of a criticism have been made as per the PDS. What exactly the PDS has done. So, the people have criticized it. The implementation of the PDS still need to be improved because of the following reasons. Now, why they have criticized? There are certain demerits in the PDS. Now, what are those demerits? Though the storehouses are full with the grain, but still many people are suffering with the starvation. They are not providing the people. They are not providing these grains to the people those who are in need. They are just storing them in the granaries, and these FCI godowns are overflowed by the grains, due to which either they are rotten up or eaten up by the rats, but they are not given to the needy people. So in 2012, we only needed 32 million tons of food in the buffer storage, but we were having 82 million tons. So why we were having so much? Why we have not distributed to the needy people? Why we are keeping such a tons of the rice and the wheat in their buffer stocks? So even such type of storage requires maintenance cost too. If you are storing it, you require the maintenance. You have to give the medicine, pesticides to the storage grains. So here even it required certain things. So because the government is purchasing rice and wheat from the farmers, they are only producing this and the others are neglected. And we are facing the scarcity because already the prices have been given to them, that on so and so a price we are going to buy the rice and wheat from you all people. Now these people, these farmers, they become greedy and they started producing only rice and wheat, and the other things have been neglected by the farmers, because of which we were facing the scarcity of the other things, though we are getting the rice and wheat. And apart from this, to provide the rice and wheat, we require more amount of water too, due to which the water level is falling in the ground, because all the farmers now they started producing only rice and wheat, because of which they required more water, and because of the more water we started degrading the land by using more water, due to which the level of the water level of the ground is falling down. And apart from this, the buying of the food grain is concentrated more towards the areas like the high level of the buffer stock of the food grain is very undesirable and wasteful. In the states such as like Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, mainly two crops, that is wheat and rice, are grown. And this incentive utilization of the water in this cultivation of the rice has also led to the environmental degradation, and they fall in the water level, threatening and sustainability of the agriculture development in these states. So these were the certain demerits which were criticized by many people for the PDS, that is public distribution system, though it has been playing the very remarkable role in order to provide the food security to the people, but these were the certain demerits or the criticism which were made by many after noticing. Now let's discuss about the malpractices that are done by the PDS. Now PDS dealer, they started malpracticing like diverting the grains to open the market to get better margin, selling poor quality of grains to the ration shop and keeping the good quality and selling them to the market in the market price and earning the profits. An irregular opening of the shop, as the ration shop has to be opened daily, they are opening it irregularly. So in recent year, there is another factor that has led to the decline of the PDS. That is, the income has been distributed in the three level of the families. So here, when the income has been distributed among the three level, the people those who are above the poverty line, they are getting very little discount at the ration shops. The prices for the above the poverty line families is almost as high as open market prices. So there is a little incentive for them to buy these items for the ration shop, because each and every uh, uh, categories of the income people, some rate have been described by the ration shops, like the people those who are living below poverty line, they will get the wheat and rice for the 3 rupees and the 2 rupees, but the people those who are living above the poverty line, they will buy the wheat and the rice for 25 rupees and the 35 rupees. So there is a difference. So here they are saying that the APL family, that is the people who are having the above poverty line, the people those who are living above the poverty line, for them they are buying at the market price only from the ration shop. So what is the use of buying from the ration shop? Rather they can buy from the market price. There is no discount for the APL families. So this is somewhat the malpractices that have been done by this PDS, and the malpractices which have resulted in the consumer of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, they are buying very less food grains. Why? Because these people are not at all opening the shops. They are storing the food grains, and they just say that the grains have been completely finished now there is no grains, and next time when the shop will be open, we'll provide you the grains. In that way they started storing the grains. But whereas in the southern state, when they have compared it, the northern state, the grains have been purchased very less than compared to the southern cooperative ration shops. In the southern, the purchases are more than compared to the northern side. So why this there is a difference? Why the food grains have been not purchased by the northern people than compared to the southern people? Because the northern people were not at all opening the shops. They were regularly opening the shops. They were storing the grains, and they were selling the grains in the market for the market price in order to earn the profit. Rather than giving them for the 2 to 3 rupees, they are selling in the market for 25 to 35 rupees. So they are gaining the huge profit, this PDS. So that is the reason the malpractices, it came into the limelight when they have compared the situation of north and south side, and the differences between the APL and BPL families under the targeted public distribution system. Let's see the role of cooperatives in food security. So here if we see that 94% of the fair prices shop, that is the ration shop, are there in Tamil Nadu, and they are owned by the cooperatives, because of which the PDS have done a good job in Tamil Nadu. In Delhi, Mother Dairy provides milk and vegetable at very low prices. Amul brought the white revolution. It started from the Gujarat and provided milk all over the India at the low price. Then the Academy of Development Science has given the facility to the NGO to set the grain banks in different regions of the Maharashtra. So we can say that in India, the cooperatives are also playing an important role in the food security, especially in the southern and the western part of the country. The cooperative societies set up the shops to sell the low priced goods to the poor people. And some of the example of the cooperative societies are like the Mother Dairy in Delhi, Amul from the Gujarat, and the Academy of Development of Science in Maharashtra. Now these are some of the important questions, and try to answer with the help of this PPT.